Well, as we approach the fall and schools are preparing to go back into session in person, in most cases, there's a lot to consider, especially with the Delta variant going around and and growing concerns as case numbers are on an uptick, not only in Oakland County, but throughout the local area in the state of Michigan and across the United States. And to talk more about how that is affecting the West Bloomfield School District, Dr. Gerald Hill is next on the show. He's the superintendent of the West Bloomfield School District. Dr. Hill, thanks for being with us today.
Thanks, Tyler. Pleased to be here.
Pleased to have you with us. So as we are approaching the beginning of the school year here in the West Bloomfield area, how has the recent uptick in COVID-19 cases and the concern with the Delta variant impacted the plans that were already in place for this fall, and maybe what changes might be in place as a result?
Sure. Thanks, Tyler. Yeah, the Delta variant is impacting our planning. We are looking at devising a plan. As you know, we want to be in school, face-to-face, in person, 5 days a week. And in order to do that, we need to implement layers of protection and defense against COVID-19 and the Delta variant. Consequently, my team and I, we've developed the West Bloomfield School District COVID-19 mitigation guidelines that we will be following. Those guidelines are basically in order, we put them in place in order to be proactive related to COVID-19 as opposed to reactive, although there's a little bit of both. As you mentioned, the data looks alarming at this point. I mean, it's doubled over the last 2-week period from the previous 2-week period. However, the cases are not concentrated in the school population as of this time. A couple of weeks ago, there were about 99 school-age cases in Oakland County. The past 2 weeks, there have been about 262 cases Oakland County-wide. So our plan is a combination of looking at several factors. We're looking at the CDC transmission rates, what they are, and they're high in Oakland County right now. And then we're also looking at the prevalence of COVID-19 within our Oakland County, but more specifically within our school district. And so consequently, it's a combination of factors, and it's not quite so simple as when transmission rates equal X, we will do Y. And so it triggers a conversation, a decision, and really conversations with the Oakland County Health Department.
And continuity of learning is really important as well. And earlier on in the pandemic, near the end of the previous school year, we had talked to Ken Gutman over in the Walled Lake Consolidated School District about what they were doing in the case of COVID-19 cases popping up in their schools or outbreaks beginning to spread throughout a school, where they would maybe shut a school down and convert to virtual or hybrid for a period of time instead of the entire school district, as a means of mitigating that specific situation over several days, over a couple of weeks, and continuing as much in-person learning as is possible. And in the case of preventing, you want to at least start with preventing cases in your schools before, so you don't have to, like you said, react to those outbreaks. But in the event that there are outbreaks, because of the funding situation right now, and because of the requirements really going back to what was really the norm before the pandemic coming up in this school year, are there any concerns that with the outbreaks that are happening, even though they're not necessarily among school-age children, even though school-age children really aren't around each other at this moment in time because they're not in school, is there any concern on the funding side that some of these outbreaks, should they pop up in schools, particularly elementary schools, because people under 12 years old are not at this time eligible to be vaccinated, that could impact what's already a treacherous situation with school funding?
Yeah, and I don't think that we're concerned about the school funding being a factor. Our primary concern is with the health and safety of the students and staff. And so because of that, we've implementing several mitigation strategies. Those strategies, we are strongly encouraging wearing of face masks. We're not requiring it at this point in time. We also are going to be practicing frequent hand washing, use of hand sanitizers. Our buildings will be cleaned and regularly cleaned to take care of that. We're going to be implementing our filtering of air throughout, getting more fresh air into the schools. And so we have several mitigation strategies. One of the things that we will be doing differently, we will be having field trips for students this year. However, when they are on field trips, we will require mask wearing. And the other required mask wearing is when students are on school buses. And so every morning, students that take a bus to school, they will be required to wear a mask, as that's a requirement of the CDC. Once they get to school, we strongly encourage the mask wearing. If we reach a point where the COVID transmission and presence is high, then it's a possibility, after consulting with Oakland County health authorities, that we may implement mask wearing as a requirement. At this point, we're not there yet, but it could become a possibility. The other thing I'd like to stress is that we really encourage people 12 years age and up to get the vaccination. Currently, we're at about 70% in Oakland County. It would be great if that was at 80 to 85% or higher. Then we wouldn't be having the kind of outbreaks that we're seeing, not only here, but across the United States.
So, Dr. Hill, the conversation about whether or not masks will be worn in classrooms has been a very, very hot topic lately. And like you said, it's strongly encouraged, but not necessarily required at this point. So I'm wondering, how does that apply to teachers? Because when I think about it, if I had a strongly encouraged but not necessarily required policy at my school, I feel like I would read the room a little bit, and maybe if my teacher or professor in my case was wearing one, then I would kind of feel like maybe that's what I should do. But if they weren't, then I would be like, well, they don't care, so I don't really care either. Do staff have the same protocols and guidelines as the students do, or is it different for them?
No, the staff have the same guidelines as students do. One of the differences, the majority of our staff, I don't have the exact number, are vaccinated. And so they have a layer of protection that is there with the vaccination. But we will be, if we implemented mask wearing throughout, then that would apply to the staff as well as the students. Right now, we're strongly encouraging, but not requiring mask wearing of students or staff. Now, I will say that if the data continues to compound like it has over the last several weeks, we may be requiring masks as soon as August 30th, which is our first day of school. But right now, it's not warranted.
We're joined by Dr. Gerald Hill, the superintendent of the West Bloomfield School District, on the MegaCast today. And Dr. Hill, as we are approaching the beginning of the school year, schools will be going back in session here in West Bloomfield. They will be in person, and a lot of questions are certainly going to be asked about the progress over at the new West Bloomfield Middle School location up on Orchard Lake Road. Can you give us a status update of that facility? How far along is it in the construction?
Sure, Tyler, we're really excited about that. The construction is moving along fine. At this point in time, we're doing a lot of work both inside and outside of the school. As you drive by, you can see all the work being done on the parking areas and behind the school on the ball fields. Inside, we're about ready to get all of the exterior work completed. So come fall, we will be able to enclose the building and heat it and work throughout the winter. Our timeline right now is to have that school ready for installing furniture as early as April of 2022. So we're excited about that. And when you walk through the building, when I walk through the building, you can see the elements definitely taking shape, and it's an exciting project that we're all working on.
Is other construction also happening throughout the school district? Of course, we've witnessed some of it right here at Green Media Center with the construction in the parking lot at Green Media Center and Chico Elementary School. Can you give us an update on that? What can parents and students expect when they come back to Chico in a few weeks to begin the school year?
Well, when they come back to Chico, as of right now, August 23rd is when we anticipate that parking lot being completed, okay. At least during that week. So we will be ready for the start of school on August the 30th. And so that's been a challenging timeline this summer, mostly due to acquisition of materials, but I believe all the materials are in. Of course, all the rain we've been having has slowed it down a little bit as well, but that project is scheduled to be completed.
Dr. Gerald Hill with us on the MegaCast. He's the superintendent of the West Bloomfield School District. Dr. Hill, just another minute or so with you before we'll say goodbye today. Anything else that would be important for parents, students, faculty to know as we approach the school year?
So our plan that we spoke of earlier, that's being sent out this afternoon to all families. And our Board of Education worked on it at our Monday night board study session last Monday. And they will make final actions in terms of approval of the plan on August the 23rd. We encourage everybody to read through the plan, to look at the mitigation strategies that we have in place. And in the meantime, if you have not been vaccinated, please get a vaccine. And if you're able to, and we strongly encourage the mask wearing. In terms of the school starting, we are so excited to have all the boys and girls back to face-to-face, in-person learning experience. Our staff is really excited about it. I know the students are excited, and we look forward to a fantastic year in the West Bloomfield School District.